The chaos erupted at precisely 8:17 in the morning, when Victoria Langford spotted her gleaming silver Lexus being hauled away by a massive tow truck, right there in the middle of our quiet suburban street, with neighbors peeking from behind curtains, phones raised high to capture every humiliating second, and me, standing on my porch, feeling a rush of vindication that I'd been bottling up for. Into a mangled wreck that sat there mocking me in my driveway. But little did she know, as she reveled in her petty destruction, I was already piecing together the puzzle that would unravel her whole corrupt empire, from shady bank transfers to phony receipts and stolen dues that had funded her lavish life for years. What would you do if some entitled busybody, drunk on her own authority, demolished the one thing you'd poured your soul into after losing everything else? Tell me in the comments where you're tuning in from, because this tale of sweet, calculated revenge spread like wildfire through our community, changing lives and exposing truths that had been buried under layers of fake smiles and manicured lawns forever. Let me rewind a bit and paint the picture for you. I'm Marcus, a 52-year-old electrician from the suburbs of Houston, trying to piece my life back together after a brutal divorce that left me with nothing but echoes of what used to be a happy home, where every yard is clipped to perfection and folks act like they're all best friends at block parties. But really, it's a pressure cooker of unspoken resentments and hidden agendas. Blue. Every dollar of that $45,000 representing sacrifices I'd made, long shifts under buzzing fluorescents, skipped vacations, all for that moment when I cruised home with the wind whipping through. The fresh scent of leather blending with the humid Texas breeze, that powerful 500 horsepower engine purring like a beast finally unleashed, and for the first time since signing those papers that scene, our iron-fisted ruler of the Homeowners Association, or HOA as we call it. Imagine a lady straight out of a catalog for upscale moms, with a sleek auburn bob that defied gravity, outfits that screamed executive boardroom even on weekends, and that silver Lexus ES she polished like it was her firstborn. Her sprawling mansion dominated the end of our cul-de-sac, a testament to excess with a lawn so immaculate it could have been artificial turf laid by perfectionists on steroids, and she'd been the HOA president for 7 years, treating the place like her private kingdom where rules bent to her whims and dissenters vanished quietly. The nitpicking kicked off right away. On day 4, a notice slipped into my mailbox about my silver mailbox clashing with the approved palette, demanding I swap it for a charcoal one to preserve the vibe, costing me $95 for basically the same box. Then the yard gripes piled on, every Wednesday like a ritual. Clones nodding in sync like puppets on strings. We uphold a certain elegance here in Oak Ridge Meadows, she went on, her sharp green eyes locking onto me like targeting lasers. Muscle cars send the wrong message. And just like that, my parked in my own driveway car was deemed offensive. The ticket she slapped down demanding $250 or a lien on my house if I didn't correct it. That night, methodically, how her fines contradicted the docs, but Victoria just sat there, poised like a cat toying with a mouse, and when I wrapped up, she leaned back and dropped the bomb that ignited. And that's when it clicked. This wasn't about cars or curbs. It was control, dominance, shoving the outsider down, but she'd picked the wrong battle with a heartbroken electrician who'd lost too. The driver's side of my Mustang, deliberate lines exposing raw metal like wounds on flesh, not some kid's prank, but a targeted assault that screamed personal vendetta. I dialed the cops, voice steady despite the fury bubbling inside, as Officer Sanchez jotted notes with minimal interest, muttering about likely teens, no leads, no cams, tough luck. The body shop quote hit like a gut. Hands and fire in his veins, ready to flip the script. That same evening, wiring up floodlights for a jittery client downtown, learning the ins and outs of SensorTech and View Fields. My phone buzzed with a text from my elderly neighbor, Eleanor Watkins, a 74-year-old widow with eagle eyes and a heart of gold. Her message cryptic but urgent. Swing by soon. Got something you need to hear. Her cozy den smelled of chamomile tea and faded memories. She drew the blinds tight before spilling it. I saw who keyed your ride last night, around 1 a.m. It was Victoria's son, Brandon. Victoria wasn't just bossy. She was a bully erasing opposition through endless harassment until they broke and bolted. But unlike Eleanor, Unlike Mrs. Alvarez, I wasn't fleeing, my years tracing. Electrical faults had taught me, when power gets cut, you don't patch, you overhaul the whole damn grid. The following day, I hit the electronics store for top-tier dash cams, dual lenses. Private spaces, a lesson drilled by my divorce attorney during the messy split. Always record. Marcus, words mean squat without hard proof. I spent the weekend routing cables with job site precision. More to share, 4 families driven out in 2 years after crossing her. The Patels, the Johnsons, the young Reyes couple with their infant, the pattern chilling, nitpick finds, anonymous tips too. Services, insurers getting bogus hazard alerts until living there became hell. Then the bombshell, the old finance guy, Harold Jenkins, probed expenses before vanishing. She buried him in roof defect. Claims that pros called total fiction. My mind raced like shorting wires. This wasn't ego. It was cover for something massive, and Harold, wherever he'd gone, held the unlock code to her downfall. That night in my workshop, amid the tang of grease and resolve, sorting files while oblivious to the cams about to snag gold, 3 nights on, my alerts blared at 2:17 a.m., groggy I checked, expecting wildlife. But there she was, Victoria herself, hunched by my Mustang like a midnight saboteur, not her kid, the HOA prez etching grooves with a garden tool from the communal shed. Her flashy diamond band sparkling under lamps as she worked with glee, the scrape echoing faintly, each stroke a calculated blow to my wallet. And damn if she wasn't grinning in the glow, reveling in the ruin. Rage screamed to confront her, drag her off by that flawless hair. But counsel echoed, stay cool, let fools self-destruct. So I watched, capturing felony in pixels. Reeking of smug officialdom, urgent notice, illegal mods on your exhaust breach, quiet rules per bylaw 4.9c, revert to stock or ditch the car in 48 hours, or face tow at your cost plus fees. The nerve, trying to seize my ride legally after botching the sabotage, but desperation wafted off it like bad cologne, and while she plotted my defeat, fate delivered the kill shot. Eleanor showed up. That dusk with a secretive air, you gotta meet someone. Harold Jenkins is back, itching for payback after years in hiding. We linked at a rundown diner 40 minutes out, steam from burnt coffee. Bogus bills, ghost firms, gear buys that never materialized, at least $50,000 gone. My veins iced as papers spilled, ledgers, faked bids, transfers to shells under her old name, Victoria Hayes. Her address as HQ. Syncing with her Lexus loans perfectly, funding her luxuries off our backs while crushing questioners. But the twist gutted me. Harold had blown the whistle once, reports filed. AG tipped, media poked, then the onslaught, sudden $35,000 roof mandates from her inspectors, policy axed on phantom issues. She wielded authority like a blade, silencing threats, but she'd erred. Targeting me, a man with zero to lose and wiring smarts to trap it all, Harold passed the trove, duplicates stashed, waiting for a fighter like you. That eve, under glaring kitchen lights, docks rustling like victory whispers, Victoria eyed my surrender at dawn, but I was primed to torch her realm, cams set to immortalize the blaze. I triple set alarms for 6 a.m., drifting off with a grin absent since the split. Dawn broke crisp with autumn hints of smoke and reckoning. Sipping strong brew on my stoop when Officer Sanchez rolled up, stepping out wary, like he'd prefer real crime. Over this, but fair, mid-30s, actually hearing folks out, eyes tired from endless mediations. Show me, he said, snapping pics of fresh scars on my Mustang as I proffered footage stills. The video damning, Victoria mid-act, ring glinting, tool in grip, he whistled, strong stuff. But neighbor vandalism often fizzles unless blood's drawn or bucks soar. DAs treat it like pricey spats. Through her spin, he's spying, photographing, hinting revenge over valid fines. As a solo woman, I'm terrified. Last night saw odd doings by his car, but fear froze me. The gall, feet from her crime. Guarding all our assets from thugs. Confusion flickered across her mask. She'd banked on my blow-up to paint me unhinged. My poise through her. We can sort this maturely, I added, smooth as silk. Lexus, I rang Diego that eve, his tone raw from rip-offs. Tomorrow gets epic. Marcus, we synced for 7 a.m. Her deadline 8 sharp, expecting my Mustang vanished, instead facing her sacred cows. Real tow bills she'd signed, totals matching what he'd done, but zero cash flow, yet HOA statements showed payouts to Ramirez Towing Services. Wait, that's not mine, he growled, pulling Regs 4. Ramirez Recovery Solutions, filed under her sis Rebecca Hayes, P.O. Box setup, using my rep to siphon while screwing me. Audacity peaked, but he piled on, Harold lowballed. It's $80,000 plus embezzled over 3 years, phantom services, non-existent management fees, to her shells. Then the rage sparker, those policy drops, Eleanor's coverage, Grace's foundation lies, Harold's roof fraud. All her doing via realty creds, pressuring insurers with fakes, turning systems against us. Scope breathtaking, not mere theft, life renting to shield it, Lexus notes, home upgrades. Kids' elite school, club dues, all on pilfered coin from those she served. Plan, Diego queried, eyes alight. I eyed the proof heap, cold steel settling. We dismantle her publicly. Ensure no more harm. The fight turning spectacle. My garage morphed to command hub, knees on chill concrete, as I arrayed files like warm maps, Harold's finances on benches, Diego's bills wall-taped. Insurance scams pinned like timelines, sense of lubricant, ink, justice mingling. Eleanor Dawn arrived with Wake Up Joe and Fighter's Grit. Rallied 16 families to testify, rage turning to revolt. Multi-prong, feds charged, civil triple damages, license yanks, media blitz for shame, no shred time. Diego rigged surveillance pro, cams, mics, drone overheads, Texas one party okay. Backups neighborhood-wide, cloud synced, tri-state duplicates. Harold schooled audits, reserves sacred for fixes, commingling embezzlement, personal dips fiduciary breach, simple checks like. Demanding statements, receipts, notice compliance, abuse thrives on ignorance. Diego towed wisdom, proper hauls need signs, 72-hour warrants, violation pics, most illegal thefts sand steps, tip. Snap positions, signage gaps, demand docs prepay. Timing Swiss, rush hour witnesses, buses for families, her 8:15 patrols clockwork from stakeouts, Elena Luke Channel 5's Nicole Hernandez. Emmy winner on HOA Rod. Crew at 8:30 for gold. Media ruthless, evidence packs, social amp, hashtag Oakridge scam trending via Eleanor's net. Cywar soul-crushing, hitting control fetish, stripping power. Robe-clad Victoria spotting Diego's rig like a predator, dialing frantic, pacing in luxury slides, texts buzzed real-time. Board huddle, yells, law mentions, but she dug deeper unknowingly. 7:15. Accounting mix-up. No mix, folder out, sign bills, zero pay, but payouts to your sis's shell? Pallor hit, exposure raw. Air charged as Officer Sanchez pulled up on her likely 911 disturbance call. She flipped victim, harassment, blocking, threats. Diego handed proof, fraud evident. Sanchez's interest peaked. But Eleanor advanced with envelope, allies trailing, more on misconduct. Our tranquil lane buzzed like a war zone. Diesel fumes mixing with desperation and the intoxicating aroma of retribution finally unfolding. Victoria at the center, her elegant ensemble now creased and damp from anxiety that no high-end fragrance could conceal. And in a move reeking of cornered privilege, she stabbed at her phone, summoning what she thought was her ultimate escape hatch. Turning to Officer Sanchez with haughty indignation. Officer, certain civic leaders enjoy special accords with our group. This could spell trouble politically for all, the veiled extortion lingering. Like toxic fog, Sanchez's face hardening from tolerance to revulsion, her words not just a threat, but self-incriminating in broad daylight. Then her lackeys swarmed, 3 bored cronies from her. Panic summons, jittery as they eyed the proof sprawl on Diego's rig, and Board Secretary Laura Jenkins wasted no time flipping. I never touched those bills. Victoria swore the finance chair soloed them. Board member Alex Torres piled on savagely. We heard they were standard, no contracts shown, his tone laced with dread over potential complicity in docs that screamed prison. Watching alliances. Shatter was poetic, loyalty evaporating faster than dew under sun as federal time loomed. Minutes turning board into state's witnesses dismantling her every fabrication. But Victoria's crowning. Madness. Dialing Channel 5 herself, frantic about a harassment plot by menacing locals terrorizing officials. Oblivious she'd rung the squad Elena had prepped on her sins. News vans growled in. Nicole Hernandez alighting like a hunter on scent, folder brimming with our dirt, her opener Emmy bait, Mrs. Langford. Thoughts on claims you've siphoned $80,000 plus while bullying silence? Victoria's jaw worked soundlessly, cameras feasting on her unraveling for prime time. The breaker? Herald advancing, case in tow like Doom's herald, years of ledgers proving theft, she wrecked me too. 500 plus. Her wail a symphony of defeat as Chrome Pride ascended, neighborhood cheers thundering like liberation. By 8:30, street teemed with 70 residents, a triumphant throng witnessing tyranny's end. Snatching Nicole's mic, perching rail like a frantic orator, friends, this assault on our ideals by intruders bent on ruin, but booze drowned her, shouts of stolen cash, fake firms piercing. Shells laundering via kin. She stammered denials, but I countered, who vandalized my car on tape, signed fakes, terrorized builders and folks? Applause roared, Eleanor forward teary. She nuked my policy with lies, forced silence or homelessness. Harold boomed, buried me in BS when I audited, exile from my home. Grace, back from afar, she trashed my blooms then fined me. Weaponized my passion. Testimonies cascaded, anger swelling. Victoria shrinking to a shell and finery. Fed Agent Morales ascended with cuffs, warrant hot. Victoria Hayes Langford, arrested for mail. Fraud, conspiracy, embezzlement, RICO. Rights recited like her dirge amid cheers, bus kids gawking. And as Diego hoisted her Lexus fully, she shuffled cuffed past her ill-gotten trophy. Unsparing, for years federal time, 6 probation, $135,000 repay with extras. Orange-clad, no leniency, real bars for her privilege bubble. Funds recovered swelled with interest, her mansion auction. Covering park revamps. My Mustang restored via community drive. Surplus seeding a defense pot against future abuse. Gleaming as resilience emblem. New board transparent, streams meetings. Posts finances, polls decisions. Herald finance head unanimously, auditing tight. Eleanor chronicling for a publisher hot book on suburban scams. Her bravery sparking shares. Diego's biz boomed. Integrity legend, expert now. Elena's win landmark, sparking reforms in 4 states. Ripples, 15 HOAs audited voluntarily. Oak Ridge law mandating transparency, board checks. Our Liberty Fest yearly. Raises for aid scholarships, model nationwide. Old Home Now Center, kids playing where plots hatched, irony divine. Personally, I've rooted here as guardian, biz thriving on trusts. Aided 5 communities, bust schemes. Yesterday's call, trembling voice from afar, heard your saga, help us? Gazing at free streets, blooming chats, Eleanor gardening unchecked, I smiled, en route. Fight's worth it, victory shared. And there it ends, a chapter closed on corruption's defeat, communities empowered, justice served cold and complete. But tell me, was this revenge too far?